Okay, hi everyone and welcome to this new video. So this video is about Scala, the up-and-coming programming language. Now, while it's not very true that it's up-and-coming because it was actually developed in 2003, it has been gaining a lot of traction in recent years, and many developers across different industries are keen to learn it and learn more about it. So to get started, what is Scala? So it's a general purpose programming language. So the same as Java and Python, these are general purpose languages. It was invented by Mr. Martin Olersky and his research team at EPFL in Switzerland in 2003. So, like I said, developed in 2003, however, it has been gaining popularity in recent years. And many say that the term Scala itself represents scalable language or scalable itself. So, because it's a highly scalable language, and we'll get into it in a minute. Now, Scala is said to be a multi-paradigm language. Now, what are programming paradigms? So, paradigms are essentially like a set of principles that we follow for a certain language. So, this is how we do things in this language, this is how we do things in this paradigm. So, this is how we do things in object-oriented or in functional programming. So, it's a series of steps or principles that we must follow in each paradigm. So Scala is multi-paradigm, like we said. What does that mean? It brings together object-oriented programming and functional programming. So object-oriented, like Java, for example, we have these objects, these variables in Scala are all saved as objects. So this is what makes it a powerful object-oriented programming tool. However, it also provides functional programming, and it works in that way, making it really easy for us to mold the two together without having to combine different languages. And it's all into one concise programming language. Okay, so another feature of Scala is that it is statically typed. So we know that things could be either statically or dynamically typed. Now, variable types in Scala are explicitly declared and known at compile time. So just as any statically typed language, you have to declare each variable what it is, so what type or what type of object it is, and the compiler at compile time it would know. Meanwhile, in dynamically typed languages, we do not declare them, and that is sort of interpreted at runtime. So dynamic typing is slower. So that's why we say that Python is a slow language. That's why we have Scala now, because it has this faster functionality while still being better than the normal object-oriented languages such as Java. It brings in the good parts of Python but makes it fast. So that's a really good pro for Scala, and that's why it has been gaining such popularity. So this is why we like it, because it is statically typed. It makes catching errors much more easier because we can catch them at compile time rather than have to debug things at runtime. So Scala runs on JVM. JVM is the Java virtual machine, so it has this Java runtime, making it compatible with existing Java programs. So it initially was born because it seeked to address all the issues of Java. So Scala was just the better Java, the same way Kotlin was also introduced to be a better Java. So you can use Scala with existing Java code, and you can use Scala for Android apps as well, because we know that Java is used for Android. So when you have an Android app and it requires some sort of functional programming that Java does not provide you, you can go for Scala, and that would be a good idea. So what is Scala.js? So I'm not sure why this font is so tiny, but so Scala.js is a Scala compiler that compiles to JavaScript, making it possible to write Scala programs that run in web browsers, or with Node.js. So it's the JavaScript version of Scala, and it also has been gaining a lot of popularity, so it's relatively much newer than the actual normal Scala, and in recent years this has been really looked into and researched. So developers are very interested in that, so you can keep an eye out for it if you're interested in web development. So another industry where we can use Scala is data science. So it's a staple language at this point for data science. So you have Python, you have R, and now you have Scala alongside them. And the main difference here, the main reason we have Scala with these already very powerful data science languages is that Scala is great for big data analysis. So we're talking huge volumes of data. It has a framework called Apache Spark, which you can use with Scala to have big data analysis and run your analysis on extensively large volumes of data because it's highly scalable, like we said, like the name. So for data science, it's a huge plus. It's something you should definitely go for if you're in this industry. Why Scala? So why should you learn Scala? It's very concise and readable, so you have learning it, reading the code is very, so it's the same reason that made Python so popular and other languages because they were relatively simpler to read. It's multi-paradigm, like we said. It's good for parallel tasks. It has multiple frameworks that are very useful for different applications, like we said, Apache Spark for big data analysis. And just to kind of summarize the applications of Scala and where it could be used. So Scala is being used by numerous tech companies: Netflix, Twitter, LinkedIn, Airbnb. I even heard that Apple was using it in a sense. It's also very popular in data science and data engineering, like we said. So if you're interested in this type of thing, if you're interested in working at these big companies, if you want to use it for backend, if you want to use it for web, if you want to use it for data science and engineering, big data, that's your call. So this is where, if you can see that Scala fits into your industry, if its applications match your interests, then you should probably go for it and learn it. So finally, should you learn it? So like I said, if it matches your industry, if it's popular in your industry, then it would not hurt to add it to your tool belt. However, you must note that it has a steep learning curve, especially for absolute beginners. So if you're coming in and you're not an amazing programmer, not even amazing, so you're not an intermediate level programmer, you're gonna have some trouble understanding it, especially if you're not already familiar with a language like Java or C. So if you've only ever worked with basic Python and you come to Scala, there's going to be a lot that you're going to be confused about. So if you know Java, go for it because it's going to be quite easy for you to transition to this language. However, if you're a beginner, I suggest learning Java first, or maybe just dabbling in it a bit, getting to know the syntax of things, how classes and objects work, and then moving on to Scala. And like we said, finally, that if you're in the data engineering industry, then it's a good choice to learn it. So I hope this was useful. I hope you were able to have some insight on whether or not you should learn this language. I hope you were able to understand what makes this language so popular and so important in recent years. And thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.